Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see, I've got a review here of one of Cynthia Knox's latest books, Painting in Colour Pencil, Favourite Things. So, if you're new to colour pencil and you don't know who Cynthia Knox is for whatever reason that may be, I personally refer to Cynthia Knox as kind of the godmother of colour pencils. The colour pencil community, and the reason why, and I know she would hate me saying that because Cynthia is an incredibly humble woman. She just enjoys doing what she does, and she does it because she loves it, and that's as simple as it gets for Cynthia. But the amount that she has contributed to the colour pencil community is just phenomenal, and if you followed me for any length of time, you will know that because I've reviewed a few of Cynthia's books over the years. But she has an absolute almost a library now of her own books that she has published over the years. So certainly, since I've been involved in colour pencil, which has now been about 9 or 10 years now, when I first started looking around and wanted to find out how to use colour pencils properly and what have you, I looked online like everybody does. I went to YouTube, but I wanted to get something a little bit more comprehensive. I wanted to be taught how to use the colour pencils and how to draw something properly. And so I found a platform called Craftsy. Now, Craftsy still exists today, but it's a slightly different platform to the one it was way back, like 8 or 9 years ago, whenever I first bought a class from it. But nevertheless, it was available, and they had all these different classes. And I think Craftsy, certainly back then, was one of the very, very few online platforms that had a significant amount of coloured pencil artists teaching you how to use colour pencils. Now, Cynthia was one of the first people, like online classes that I purchased, and I can remember buying it, thinking and watching it a number of times and following along, and the results that I was able to get, especially not after not long being involved in colour pencils, was really quite remarkable. And so I went ahead and purchased another one. And I think in total Cynthia had three classes on the Craftsy platform, which obviously then led me to her books, and I obviously purchased different books over the years. Subsequently, because obviously I write monthly reviews for Colour Magazine, which is run by Anne Kullberg. Anne Kullberg also publishes a lot of Cynthia's books, not them all, but a lot of them, certainly the most recent ones. And so I've had the privilege of being able to talk to Cynthia properly, and it's one of those moments where when I first got started in colour pencil, I knew Cynthia as a colour pencil artist, somebody that done a lot of teaching and what have you, and now all these years later, she's somebody that I refer to as a friend, and I find it really, it's just like one of those moments where you've watched this person for years and now all of a sudden you can call them a friend, and it's just crazy. Incidentally, while I say that, although she's a friend, I'm not getting anything for doing this. This is not like a sponsored review. Like all of my reviews, I don't get sponsored by anybody. I don't get money by anybody. If I've got something good or bad or indifferent to say about a product, I'll say it because I'm not beholden to anybody. So I just wanted to put that out there before I go any further. This book here, so Cynthia has just released a book, but this one is the most recent before that. It's really difficult because when you get a book of Cynthia's to say like review, it's not very long before she's got another one coming out, so it's difficult to keep up with the timeline. But I'll have an image popping up on the screen of Cynthia's most recent book, which I will be doing a review of that as well when I get when I can buy a copy of Anne's website. But this one here that we're looking at, Painted in Colour Pencil, Favourite Things, is the book that come out just before that, so it is relatively new. But one of the things I really love about this book is the subjects that have been selected to teach you. So let's take a look at the book, and then I'll talk a little bit more about Cynthia at the end of the video. So stick around for that as well. Now, the first thing I'll say here is it's the title of this book is Painting in Colour Pencil. Now, a lot of people I talk to ask me, how can you say colour pencil is a painting? And I get why they would say that, but when you watch a colour pencil artist and how they do their, like, create a piece of art with all the different techniques and blending apparatus and all these other different things that are used to help create like the layers and all of these other things that are used to create a final image with colour pencil. It just does look like a painting. Same with pastel pencils now. A lot of, if you were talking to a pastel artist, they will call what they're doing as a painting. It's just one of those things, but I can understand why people would be confused by it. But it is the correct terminology because of the way colour pencils have come along now in comparison to like the colour pencils that we all might have used in school back in the 60s and 70s. So I just wanted to put that out there. I've got a couple of little tags here on the side because it's really difficult to review a book and not give the whole thing away to the point where you don't need to go out and buy it. Although I'm not being sponsored or given anything like that to review this book, at the same time, when somebody spends months or however long it takes to write a book and puts everything that they have into it, they're entitled to sell it and make a living from it. And so I can't reveal everything that's in this book, otherwise there'd be no point in you going out and buying it, and then that would destroy somebody's living. So I've just got these little tags here where I can open up where I need to be. So let's go into the first part here, chapter 1, which is materials and techniques. Now, in Cynthia's book, she always has this right at the very beginning. Cynthia, over the years, has predominantly worked with Prismacolor pencils, and most of the tutorials that are in this book are Prismacolor led. But in this book in particular, and I don't know about the newest one that's come out, but I know in this book, Cynthia does branch away from the Prismacolor selection and uses other pencils like the Caran d'Ache Luminance, Pablo, and Faber-Castell Polychromos. So Cynthia is aware that everybody else uses different pencils, and she just wants to try and mix things up a little bit and show that you can still do these tutorials with different pencils. Although she prefers to use Prismacolor, you don't necessarily have to have Prismacolor pencils to be able to follow along with these tutorials and create a beautiful piece of artwork with whatever set of colour pencils you have yourself. Once you've got through the techniques and the materials and everything else that's needed, you get it stuck straight into the first tutorial. Before I show you that, I just want to show you another thing which I forgot to get to, and that is here we go. So this is the table of contents, and as you can see here, there's 6 different classes in the book in total. The first one is Catch a Falling Star. The next second one is Precious Pup, which is just a puppy. This one here is called Splash, and it's a glass with fruit in it. This one here is Spring Blooms. This one here is Spring Blooms 2, which is like a glass vase with flowers in it. We'll get to all these in a second. And the final one here is a blue jay, a bird. Now, as you can see, this is there are a lot of different genres covered with these 6 different classes. So we've got pet portraitures here, which you're going to learn how to do fur and eyes and things like that. Obviously the flowers that are in some of these as well. Then we've got the bird down here, which is obviously feathers and what have you. And even the first one here, Catch a Falling Star, there's loads of textures in that as well. So that's what I really love about this book, is that in those 6 classes, there are so many different things that you're going to learn. I can't think of a genre of art, after you've done these 6 lessons, I can't think of a genre that you wouldn't be able to tackle after knowing all the tips and techniques. So, like I said, this is the Catch a Falling Star. This is the start of it. And if we just look on here to the end, this is the final image. And as you can see here, there's so much going on here. There's lots of different light and shadow that is being portrayed in this drawing with the backgrounds. Then we've got the different types of glasses that are available. This blue glass, plus then the light reflecting off the blue glass onto the clear glass. This tea light thing here in the background as well. All of the intricate little details that are on there. And even the table itself, the patio table itself that it's on, has its own texture that you will learn how to recreate, and these little glass jars as well. Now, a lot of colour pencil artists, myself included, find it really difficult to be able to draw glass and portray it as glass, especially if you need to put something in it, like in this case here where we have the starfish and shells. It's difficult to portray a glass bowl with an opening with something in it and still portray it as glass and not just a ring around some objects. So in this class alone, so many different things that you're going to be taught. Really, really amazing. The second class, but chapter 3, is the little puppy. So when we show you, I'll show you the final image. Well, before I show you the final image, in the puppy one in particular, Cynthia lays out all of her tutorials in this fashion. So all of the rest of them are the same, but I'm just going to show you with this one. So as you can see here, you get like a list of materials of all the different pencils and colours that are going to be used within that particular tutorial. As you can see here with this one, so Faber-Castell Polychromos, Caran d'Ache Pablo, some Caran d'Ache Luminance, and then we've got additional supplies. So here on this particular one, Cynthia is using the Clairefontaine Pastel Matte paper. So again, different papers. A lot of the time Cynthia will use Prismacolor pencils on, say, like Strathmore 300 series Bristol Smooth paper, but as you can see here, she's branching out a little bit just to be able to give a little bit more variety and to show you guys as well that so long as you've got the tips and the techniques that Cynthia's showing you here, the paper will just help you create different techniques. But overall, you can still do these drawings. You can still do them with whatever pencils you have. Incidentally, in every single tutorial here that Cynthia has inside this book, if you want to, you can get large ready-to-print line drawings, like a quick start pack, which are available to purchase at annkolberg.com. You can purchase those line drawings and they'll get sent out to you or emailed to you, and then you can print them off and do whatever you need to do for transferring it onto the paper that you want to use, if you want to go down that route. If not, then you can just sketch it out the way you see it, the way you would normally do a drawing. But that option is available. This is the final image that you would get with the puppy, and as you can see here again, you know, we're talking here, this might seem simple, this background here, but it's not. In order to achieve a background like this, where you've got this really super light spot on the background, on the wall, and fading it out into these darker areas here, as you can see here, it's a slightly different colour over here as it is over on the right hand side. So there's a lot of blending techniques that are going to be shown here in this particular class. And then we have a little bit of reflection down at the bottom, some shadow from the puppy, because it's on this, obviously that's the wall and then the puppy's on the surface. So there's so much going on here, and obviously, you know, talking about the obvious here, you're going to learn fur, and to be able to create these gorgeous eyes, which is so important when you're doing a portrait of a human or a dog, any animal. Getting the eyes right, because the eyes are so important to give the drawing life. But all of these different things are covered in this particular tutorial. So, and again, absolutely amazing tutorial here for the pup. Next up we have Splash, which is this glass with some lemon and fruit in it, and the final drawing would look like this. The background's quite plain, but then you look here, we've got kind of like a blue table surface, but there is reflection, there's light and shadow on here as well coming from the water. You've got to again portray that this is a glass and not just like, you know, a line, like a box or something like that there with two circles in it. So all of that is down to the different values that you've got to use, the water splashing out of the glass. All of that will be taught. And again, these are all tips and techniques that you can take with you and transfer onto any other type of drawing that you want to do in the future. Chapter 5, which is actually the fourth tutorial here, is the spring blooms. Now, this is the final drawing for the spring blooms. And this is what I'm talking about. So this is like a white porcelain vase. But looking at that, I can tell that that's a porcelain vase. But that's a really difficult thing, and I can tell it's a white porcelain vase. But that's a really difficult thing to be able to just recreate. It's the highlights and stuff like that, and the way the shadow was cast on the porcelain that gives it that porcelain look. So again, everything that Cynthia walks you through this, teaches you how to do this, teaches you how to generate this type of look. We obviously have the table that it's on as well to be able to give you that wood effect. But if you look closely at the end image, it's not just the wood effect. There is perspective here. So right at the front of the table here, you've got the grain of the wood. It's clear, it's visible, but as it goes all the way back, the grain of the wood starts to disappear. It becomes a lot more blurred. And so that helps to give perspective that the vase is actually sat on something as opposed to it just hanging in midair with a backdrop to it. You can clearly see that the vase is on a table, but it's the angle of the shot. So it's very, very difficult to create this type of stuff. But again, Cynthia talks you through it all the way through the tutorial. And then obviously we come down to the actual flowers themselves and the green leaves as well. So again, light and shadow, the light reflecting off the top of the green here, and then as you get down into the vase, we've got these darker greens. So a fantastic course to try and do and replicate yourself. And of course, we have this blue ribbon here right on the front of it. And again, this all comes down to values, making sure you get your values right, making sure that the highlights of the ribbon are on where they're supposed to be, and it's those highlights and those darks that are going to give you the ability to portray that this is a piece of fabric that is wrapped around something and it's got those different wrinkles in it and what have you. It gives it that 3D effect. Next up we have here chapter 6, which is obviously the 5th tutorial. It's Spring Blooms 2. The final image for this one is this, and as you can see here, don't forget, throughout all of these classes, the reference image is there as well, so you have the reference image that you can look at and draw from as well. But as you can see here, again, so much going on with this glass jar here that the flowers are in. You've got to be able to create the illusion that this is a glass jar with water that you've got these flowers in. As you can see from the stems of the flowers, the way the water is, the way it reflects, and it looks like, the stems are all wiggly and what have you. All those different things have got to be portrayed in the drawing in order to portray that illusion. The flowers themselves, a lot of detail going on in there, but if you follow the way Cynthia does it and the way she shows you and talks you through it, it's not going to be simple, but it's the method that Cynthia uses is incredible. If you've ever used any of Cynthia's books before, if you've ever purchased them and you've gone through the different ways that she teaches you how to draw, I always used to think that teaching somebody how to draw something through a book format would be difficult, but the way Cynthia does it is very, very unique. She talks about pencil pressure, and I think that was one of the most difficult things to be able to portray in a book format is how do you tell somebody what type of pressure that they should be using on a particular part of the drawing. But the way Cynthia has it in this book is just phenomenal, and she uses that technique in a lot of her classes and in a lot of her books. Finally, we have this gorgeous blue jay here. It's called the Gatekeeper, and again, I'll show you the final image for this one. So this is kind of like the final outcome. Here you can see this blue jay, it's on a fence. In the background we've got a lot of foliage, but it's all blurred out, and that's obviously going to help with depth of field, perspective. So the focus is very much on the blue jay, but the blurred out greenery in the background helps to give that depth of field. Obviously the fence as well, so you'll be learning how to create all of this type of grain work in the fence, and then the feathers on the bird, and of course the head of the bird. Again, Cynthia teaches you how to generate all of these different things on the tutorial, including like highlights on the beak and different things like that. So that's my review of this amazing book by Cynthia Knox, Painting in Colour Pencil, Favourite Things. Now, if you wanted to get your hands on a book, on this particular book, I'll have links down below where you can either go and get them directly from Anne Kullberg's website, annekullberg.com, or you can get them from the book from Amazon as well. Again, I'll have links for that down below. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're a colour pencil artist and you're looking to just, improve upon the skills that you already have, or you're new to the colour pencil world, Cynthia has a lot of books that are geared specifically for beginners. But if you wanted to tackle a book like this, I think the way Cynthia leads you through the drawing process and talks you through everything in the book, I think a beginner could have a good go at it. I'm not suggesting that you're going to be able to pull off the same type of final images that I showed you in this book. Certainly not first time round, but it's definitely something worth trying. But for anybody that's already involved in colour pencils, you've already been drawing for a few years or something like that, and you want to try and improve upon the skills that you've already built up over the years, this is a fantastic book. Like I said at the beginning, it shows you so many different genres, so many different topics within the colour pencil. The colour pencil community finds difficult. Like I said, I was fortunate that not that long ago to be included and part of one of Cynthia's Zoom classes. Now, Cynthia also does. So, thing about Cynthia Knox, this is why I refer to her as the godmother of the colour pencil community, is because she has published so many books related to colour pencils and how to use them and the different tips and techniques that you can get. So many different genres for different levels of colour pencil artists. Plus, obviously, online classes that you can go across and buy and then, just use at your own leisure. Before COVID hit, Cynthia used to go around America and she used to go around the world, because I do believe she did courses or classes in Australia, and I know that she was lined up to do one in the UK just before COVID, but it didn't happen because of COVID. But Cynthia would go around, do classes where people would come to a class setting, sit down, and then Cynthia would walk around and teach them how to do this particular subject, whatever it was. Obviously, because of COVID and the different things that we've all learnt from COVID, Cynthia does Zoom classes now. Now, they pop up occasionally. It's not like a continuously ongoing thing, but when a Zoom class pops up, you can purchase a spot on the class. I was so fortunate to be part of one not that long ago, and the entire setup, the way it's done, is phenomenal. First of all, you'll have Cynthia there. The class I was on lasted 6 hours, but we took a break after 3 hours for lunch, and then came back and finished the remaining 3 hours. But you can get up and walk away. You don't have to be there for the full 6 hours. It's entirely up to you. At the end of it, the class is saved and sent to you on email, so you can watch it back at any time. But obviously, the benefit of being there is that occasionally Cynthia will stop and she'll ask, how you're doing, and if you need to ask a question, you can ask her, and that's where the big benefit lies. Also, as well, included in the class, you will obviously get the reference image, you get line drawings that you can print off and trace, or you can you also get a PDF which is broke down into the different sections that Cynthia does throughout the course of the Zoom class. So you have absolutely everything. I mean, other than Cynthia coming and doing the drawing for you, you've got the next best thing. And it's definitely worth something looking at the next time Cynthia does one of these Zoom classes. Definitely take a look at it and see if it's for you. So that's it, guys. That's my review of this new book by Cynthia Knox, Painting in Colour Pencil. Favourite Things. If you've got any questions, please just ask them in the comment section down below. By all means, I will get back to you as soon as possible. If I don't know the answer, I will contact Cynthia and I will get the answer for you. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps the channel out so much. And also as well, when I do giveaways, then you will get a notification. If you hit that little bell icon, you'll get a notification as to when I post a new video or a giveaway, and then you won't miss out on it. Incidentally, if you're watching this video before the 17th of March 2024, I'm running a giveaway on my channel at the minute. It's for the Derwent Inktense 100 set. So if you want to win that set and you're watching this video before the 17th of March 2024, go across to the YouTube channel, look for that video. I'll have a link for it down below, and just leave a comment, and that's you in with the chance. It's open globally. Just watch the video and all the details will be given to you in that video. But thanks very much, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Bye.